You've heard the phrases, slowing down, enjoying your golden years, or simply getting old. We talk about life after 80 as if it's a gentle coast into the sunset. We imagine slowing down is the only change, but that is a lie. The truth is far more dramatic and, frankly, much more complex. What we call old age is not a simple slowdown. It is a rapid, dramatic, and invisible remodeling of the entire human machine. Your body, after 8 decades of service, begins a series of astonishing physiological shifts that are rarely discussed and often misunderstood. Doctors are trained to treat diseases, but not the actual process of 80-plus existence. This isn't about wrinkles or gray hair. This is about what's happening in the deep, silent machinery inside you. We're going to expose the 5 most profound and least known changes your body goes through after 80, the ones that can catch even the healthiest person completely off guard. Understanding them is not about finding fear. It's about unlocking the ultimate secret to navigating the final, most crucial chapter of your life. Let's dive straight into the first change, which involves the silent disappearance of the very foundation you stand on. Change 1. Skeletal integrity, the silent disappearance. We've all heard of osteoporosis. It sounds like a slow, manageable decline. But after 80, the process accelerates into something far more insidious, what scientists are now referring to as the silent structural collapse. The common story is that you simply lose bone density. The shocking truth is that your body begins to cannibalize its own structure. Every second, 2 types of cells, osteoclasts, which break down bone, and osteoblasts, which build it, are in a furious race. In younger life, the builders win. After 80, the breakers take over with overwhelming dominance. This isn't just about brittle hips. It's about a complete change in your posture and height. You don't just shrink. Your spine literally compresses because the gel-like cushions between your vertebrae, the intervertebral discs, dry out and lose height. This rapid compression is why a serious fracture often happens not from a fall, but simply from a cough or a sharp twist. The structural integrity is gone, turning even mundane movements into a danger, but the real mystery here lies in the replacement tissue. When the body loses bone mass, what fills the void? Often, it's fat. Yes, your very bone marrow starts accumulating fat cells at the expense of bone-forming stem cells. It's an anatomical shift, a fatty infiltration that replaces strength, quietly undermining your entire frame. This is why you must understand that protecting your skeleton isn't a battle against age. It's a non-stop, daily war against your own cell turnover. The deterioration of this physical scaffolding, however, is nothing compared to the quiet, subtle changes happening inside your nervous system and the very wiring of your thoughts. Change 2. The evolving brain, a cognitive remodel. When people discuss the aging brain, they focus on memory loss and call it a decline. This is an oversimplification that completely misses the extraordinary, dual reality of the elderly mind. It's true that brain atrophy occurs. The hippocampus, the memory center, shrinks. Nerve conduction slows. But here is the massive, overlooked finding. The brain doesn't just give up. It rewires itself in astonishing ways. This is the scaffolding theory of aging. In your 20s, you use one specific, efficient area of the brain for a task. After 80, the brain recruits entirely new, larger regions, often in both hemispheres, to handle the exact same job. It's less efficient, yes, but it's a brilliant, desperate act of compensation. It's the ultimate biological hack. But here is the paradox of this remodeling: the aging brain can actually bestow certain cognitive gifts. Many older adults show better emotional regulation, higher scores in complex problem-solving that relies on pattern recognition and accumulated wisdom, and a profound decrease in negative emotional reactivity. They become less reactive to petty slights and worries. Why? Their brain has essentially deprioritized the short-term panic centers. This cognitive remodel is why some octogenarians can appear sharp and witty while struggling to remember a name. It's a complete restructuring of priorities, where the short-term file cabinet gets dusty, but the long-term, big-picture analysis center gets a massive, compensatory upgrade. You are dealing with an entirely new mind, not just a damaged old one. Yet, this fascinating cognitive shift relies on an engine that is itself undergoing one of the most dramatic internal changes of all. the hardening heart. Change 3. The hardening heart, a ticking clock. The cardiovascular system after 80 undergoes a transformation that is far more serious than just high blood pressure. This change is both mechanical and chemical, and it leads to a little-known condition that medical professionals are just now truly understanding: wild-type transthyretin amyloidosis, or ATTR-CM. The heart's biggest problem isn't weakness, it's rigidity. Your arteries and blood vessels stiffen, forcing the heart to pump against the resistance of what feels like concrete pipes. The heart muscle, the myocardium, responds to this massive workload by thickening. Think of a bicep that's been overexercised. It's big, but less flexible. But the shocking chemical twist is ATTR-CM. This condition is caused by a normal protein, transthyretin, that spontaneously misfolds and begins to deposit as thick, gummy fibers right inside the heart muscle. It's like pouring cement into the engine block. The heart isn't diseased in the classic sense, it's being infiltrated. The most terrifying part: it's often silent. Doctors frequently mistake it for generic age-related heart failure. The stiffening prevents the heart from relaxing and filling properly. It can pump out blood just fine, but it can't suck it in efficiently. This reduces the body's reserve capacity to handle stress. When a cold becomes pneumonia, or a minor fall causes trauma, the hardened heart simply cannot ramp up to meet the sudden demand. This quiet, systemic hardening of the tissue is a massive, untold risk factor of life past 80. While the engine works harder, another critical system is quietly losing its ability to fight: the immune system. Change 4 Part A. The immune system's betrayal. Immunosenescence Exposed. After 80, your immune system doesn't just get weaker. It gets confused, dysfunctional, and paradoxically overactive. This state is known by the chilling name, immunosenescence. It is quite literally the aging and failure of your body's defense forces. Here is the double-edged sword. First, your adaptive immunity, the defense force that remembers past invaders, like the T cells, starts to fail. These cells, responsible for vaccine efficacy and fighting off new viruses, become fewer and less diverse. They are, in essence, running out of memory and energy. This is why a simple flu shot or booster may not offer the same protection it once did. The memory warriors are too exhausted to mount a full counterattack. Second, your innate immunity, the body's general inflammation system, becomes hyperactive. It is perpetually on high alert. This constant, unnecessary state of low-grade inflammation, known as inflammaging, is a core mystery of extreme longevity. It drives chronic conditions like cardiovascular disease, arthritis, and even speeds up cognitive decline. The body's own defense system is betraying it, simultaneously failing to guard the walls while burning the city down from the inside. This internal conflict means that after 80, the body's primary battle shifts from fighting external germs to desperately trying to manage its own chaotic inflammatory response. It's an internal war waged by your own immune system. And this betrayal leads directly to a profound, yet often ignored, daily threat that accelerates the entire process. Change 4 Part B. The Hidden Threat of Dehydration. This might sound mundane, but it is one of the single most dangerous and least understood physiological changes after 80, a direct result of nervous system and hormonal shifts. The failure of the thirst mechanism. The hypothalamus, the tiny part of your brain responsible for regulating thirst, becomes profoundly desensitized. You could be on the verge of dangerous dehydration, yet the brain does not send the urgent, non-negotiable signal that makes you grab a glass of water. The internal thirst meter is essentially broken. This failure means that for many octogenarians, drinking water is not driven by biological need, but by discipline or routine. This is compounded by the fact that the kidneys, which regulate fluid balance, lose their ability to conserve water efficiently. They simply excrete more fluid than before. The outcome: chronic, often silent, dehydration. This isn't just a minor inconvenience. Dehydration is a massive accelerant for every major aging crisis. It causes electrolytes to become unbalanced, which can immediately trigger heart arrhythmias. It causes blood pressure to drop, leading to dizziness and falls, and it starves the brain of optimal function, leading to acute confusion, a state often mistaken for rapid dementia. The untold truth is that a significant number of hospital admissions for seniors are rooted in this simple, profound failure of the thirst signal. It is the invisible threat that must be actively battled every single day. These deep, systemic struggles inevitably lead to the fifth and final change, one that impacts recovery, mood, and cognitive function: the loss of restorative slumber. Change 5. Sleep architecture collapse, the nighttime struggle. If you know someone over 80 who wakes up 4 or 5 times a night and then naps repeatedly during the day, this isn't a sign of being well rested. It is a fundamental collapse of the body's sleep architecture. The deep, restorative stages of sleep, slow-wave sleep, and REM sleep are the brain's power washing cycle. This is when the lymphatic system flushes toxins, memories are consolidated, and physical recovery takes place. After 80, the amount of time spent in these crucial stages plummets. In some cases, it virtually disappears. The brain's ability to stay asleep is governed by the circadian rhythm, but the entire system becomes fractured. Less melatonin is produced, and the internal clock advances, causing people to feel sleepy much earlier in the evening and wake up much earlier in the morning, often long before dawn. But the terrifying element is the fragmentation. Older adults spend more time in light, easily disturbed sleep. Every small noise, bathroom trip, or shift in temperature can pull them awake. The result is a total lack of the deep, consolidated rest needed for both cognitive and physical health. The brain never gets its proper wash cycle, which research now strongly links to the acceleration of neurodegenerative conditions. The nighttime struggle is not merely about comfort. It is a critical biological failure that directly impacts the quality and length of your later years. We've exposed the truth. Life after 80 is defined not by a quiet drift, but by profound, dramatic biological events. We've revealed the silent structural collapse of the skeleton, the scaffolding theory of the evolving, compensating brain, the chemical hardening of the heart, the betrayal of the immune system, leading to chronic inflammation, and the invisible, dangerous failure of the thirst mechanism and sleep architecture. These 5 changes are the blueprint for life in the extreme stages of age. They aren't signs of failure. They are the realities of a machine that has performed an incredible, decades-long marathon. The most important takeaway isn't to be afraid, but to be prepared and disciplined. You can't stop the clock, but you can understand the machine. You can be proactive about hydration, aggressive about managing inflammation, and strategic about protecting what physical and cognitive reserves you have left. The journey after 80 is a challenge of adaptation, not surrender. It is about actively managing the extraordinary changes happening inside you. If you've experienced any of these shifts or have a loved one navigating them, let us know in the comments below. Which change surprised you the most? Share your thoughts and help us continue this vital conversation. And if you want to understand more about the specific strategies to counter inflammaging, make sure to subscribe and watch our next video.